The Indomitable Lions of Cameroon are looking ahead to win their Thursday match against Ethiopia to maintain their lead in Group A. Having beaten Burkina Faso 2-1 in Sunday's opener, the Indomitable Lions face Ethiopia, who were beaten 1-0 by Cape Verde in their first outing. Their head coach Tony Conceição hinted at the renowned goalkeeper Andre Onana might feature in the upcoming matches after he was left out in the previous opener due to an injury. Andre Onana, over the last 10 days, didn't practice. He was limited due to physical issues and was not able to attend the training sessions. That's why he didn't play against Burkina Faso. Now that he has started to practice since last Saturday, obviously he will be an option from now on in the upcoming matches. Meanwhile, Burkina Faso head coach Kamou Malo insisted his team are calm ahead of their second match of the African Cup of Nations against Cape Verde in Group A, despite losing 4 squad members through positive COVID tests. Their captain Bertrand Traoré is the latest player forced into isolation after positive test. I had COVID. I did 6 days without training. I arrived the day before the game against Cameroon. Whether you are a monster or not, whether the country counts on you or not, it is very difficult to play a game at 100% in these conditions. Cameroon are at the top of Group A with 3 points. The second on the table are the Cape Verde, following their 1-0 victory against Ethiopia. Burkina Faso and Ethiopia are at the bottom of the table after losing their openers in Group A. A very controversial Wednesday match handed Mali a winning opener against Morocco, with the center referee drawing condemnation from the Northern African country. The astonishing scenes overshadowed what should have been a proud day for Mali, who won the Group F game thanks to Ibrahima Kone's penalty just after half-time. The Zambian official Giannis Ikaze signaled the end of the match and a 1-0 win for 10-man Mali in the coastal town of Limbe, with the clock showing 89 minutes and 47 seconds. In another match, the Gambia played their first match of their history in the final phase of the African Cup of Nations, and they won against Mauritania 1-0 in Limbe, a well-deserved success for the Gambians, who have had a very difficult preparation for the CAN 2021. Tom St. Fier's men needed only 10 minutes to score the first goal of their history in the competition. Thousands of passengers were left stranded in Mali's capital, Bamako, after West African countries closed their borders with the military-ruled nation. Several scheduled trips were cancelled by many bus firms in the country, as the nation now stares at indefinite state of neglect from its neighboring countries. All the trips that were already scheduled with us have been cancelled for the week, so we are staying behind our government until we get more news from them. On Sunday, the Economic Community of West African States ECOWAS agreed to shutter borders with Mali and intertrade embargo over delayed elections.
It's no motor today. They said they closed all the border. We cannot move. So we are here today. I'm still here in Mali. By God's grace, maybe I will move. I don't know when they will open border.
There is no house that you could change your clothes and things like that. And also money to eat, you see. But my only thing is that I always just want to beg the government to consider way that we are crossing, at least to help us.
The move came after Mali's army-dominated government last month proposed staying in power for up to 5 years before restoring democracy, despite international demand that it respect a promise to hold elections on February 27.
South African pupils are back to the classroom for their first day of the 2022 academic year. In a country severely hit by the pandemic, face masks, physical distancing or rotational timetabling have become the new normal. To prevent the spread of the virus, the St. Andrew's Private School has put in place protocols. The measures were helpful for the staffing and learners to go back to a nearly ordinary everyday life.
I'm feeling much more relaxed because we know what's there. We know how to deal with the stuff. And we've had a success in the last year that we've had our school open, barring from government locking us down. We've had our school open and no grades that had to go down or be quarantined because of exposure.
On Monday, January 10, the Departments of Health and Basic Education met to consider a vaccination plan for eligible people, adults and learners.
In private schooling, it is recommended for the staffing to be vaccinated so that you can give the best kind of service that you can give. We do have vaccinations available from 12 years up for our students. That is still on a voluntary basis. But for us to mitigate the risk in our risk assessments, we are investigating the mandatory vaccination for tours and experiential settings.
2 years into the COVID outbreak, the schooling sector in South Africa has suffered from the loss of teaching and learning time, as well as from education personnel losing their lives to COVID-19 complications.
The South African Indigenous Khoisan activists were arrested Wednesday when the police led search into a camp where they stayed near the presidential office in Pretoria. The South African police led a search into the area that was believed to have been used to grow cannabis for over 3 years. The police arrested a Khoisan leader who clung to a shoulder-height cannabis plant as they dragged it across the presidential lawn in Pretoria. The group's tarpaulin tents have been a fixture on the emerald lawns of the South African President's office since 2018, when they began a campaign for official recognition of their languages. In 2018, South Africa's top court decriminalized the private and personal use of cannabis in a landmark case that pitted law enforcement agencies against advocates of the plant, known locally as Daga.